Hi, my name is Hank Dawson, and this is a video that explains how I did this photo retouching job with Sutter Homes. So it all started with this photograph here. The client had several changes. This area here, the client wanted to smooth out, darken this area, fix the house that is in the label, fix the highlights on the foil. And so what I did was I pushed the Fix Everything button. I ended up with this image here. And so that is the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Okay, so here's the label, and this is so typical with photography where you want one thing but then you lose another. You want a really bright highlight here and then you lose the logo. You want to emphasize the embossing with the bright light, but then you create shadows here on a texture that's not very pleasing. So these are the kind of problems that you need to solve with photo retouching. So here's the final result. And you can see how we have all the highlights of the emboss on the type. We've got a strong logo here and none of the shadows of the paper texture, because you can control all of that in a 3D program, which I'll show you in a minute here. Another area was the foil. The client really wanted some hot spots on the foil. In a 3D program, I was able to isolate this area and give it its own surface texture and put lights right up next to it in the virtual studio. Finally, the cap looks nice. This is what real looks like, but this is what the client wanted, something a little cleaner and more stylized. Okay, so let's jump into the 3D program and see how this is put together. Here I have a 3D model of the bottle that catches the highlights of the glass, and there's the cap, and then I have these little point lights where I can put a highlight in a real precise area. And then I have these bigger lights where I can do more general lighting, and here's the camera. And so all of these things can be moved around to adjust, the camera angle or where the lights are. Let me show you how I change one of the lights. I'm going to select this big light here, which creates this highlight on the side of the label. Now if I go to the top view, I can move that light, say for example to the side, and then you can see a dramatic change on the label here. The light moved. Where this really gets interesting is where you can start changing the materials. I'm going to go over the paper, the foil that's on the paper, and the juice. So this is a lot like Photoshop. You have all these layers that stack together to make something, and it all starts with this material layer. There you can say how much light is going to bounce off of this object, how shiny it's going to be, and how rough that surface is. And those are the real big picture things. In this case, we've got something that's pretty rough, that's not very shiny, and it's bouncing a lot of light off of it. And on top of that, you can stack a layer that looks like this. And what this does is it's a bitmap, and it tells this geometry to, this black line cuts through the label so that the glass shows. Well, you can do a whole lot of things like that. A label on here from Illustrator. This is Illustrator. I painted in a little bit of dark area there. There's other textures in here like a bump map and a specular amount, and these just tell that label to have that nice emboss that's shiny. Well, on top of the label is a foil print that tells what part of the label has the foil. Where it's really light, you see the full force of the foil, but I have like a 50% ink print over that foil. So some of the foil comes through, but not all of it, and it has this nice design right there. Finally, I did this all in Photoshop. It's such a stylized image that it just wouldn't work in 3D, which is pretty literal. So I used several photographs, a lot of painting of layers, and created this image which is projected onto the 3D geometry. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. And if you have a project that you've done that's similar, just post it there too, and it'd be great to start talking about it. Love to see what you guys are doing.